So we are going to be adding some functions to this. We want a total number of work orders, and then we also want the total amount for each month. So we're going to go back over to Design View, and we get to add some grouping levels. And in order to do that, we're going to click on Group and Sort. That opens a little pane at the bottom, and you can see that it's sorted by work order. It automatically sorted by date, okay, because we're already grouping by date. That's why we have the service date header. And what we're going to do is click on the More button. And then that gives you quite a bit more information. It says that we are sorting or grouping on service date. We're going from oldest to newest. It's by month. At this point, we don't have totals, okay? And there is no footer section. And we are not instructing it to keep, the group together on one page. And these are all things that you can change. So to count the work orders, we're going to come over here where it says with no totals, and we're going to click on the arrow. And it says total on work orders. That is the field that we want to count. Right now, the default is count values. And what we want to do is count the records. And we do want a grand total. And we do want to see a subtotal, basically that will display when the group changes. So when we go from September to October, that's when we see the subtotal. Grand total is going to show at the very bottom. Okay, so we just added these, and you should look up in your grid because now we have a service date footer, whereas we did not have it before. And we have the count here. So it's got equal count. In parentheses, there's an asterisk, which means everything. It's going to count everything in that particular group. You'll also notice that in the report footer, we also have that same count. This is going to be like a grand total. So we said we wanted the count, but we also wanted some numeric totals. So we're going to go back in here, and now we are going to total on the total work order. Okay, and the default here is sum, and that is exactly what we want. And again, we want grand total at the bottom, and we also want to see subtotals. So when the month changes, we can see what the total work orders were. And we're going to kind of click outside the box. And now if you look, you'll notice that we have two functions. And if you look at the sum, it's just summing on that field. And the field name is in brackets, just like any other field. The only difference is we've got it inside the sum function this time. So at this point, we are going to close out of our sorting and grouping pane because we do have our statistics that we wanted. And let's save this, and we're going to take a little look here in Print Preview. And you can see where they're displaying. And then if we go to the next page, and then we get our grand total here at the bottom. So obviously it would be helpful to kind of move these and customize where they're displaying, and also give them some labels so that they're a little more user-friendly. And that's what we're going to be doing next. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these sum calculations, And we're going to move them so that they line up with the total work order, which kind of makes sense because that is what we're totaling. And because numbers are right aligned, shouldn't be too hard to get these to line up. And you could even select these, go into Arrange, Align, and align them to the right. That would make them all line up. I'm going to move them up even. Well, you might have to move them individually. And I'm going to up arrow that. Okay, then we've got count, which should be lining up underneath the work order. And I believe it is. I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm funny about lining stuff up. Actually, let me align those on the right. And just to be doubly sure, we're going to right align within our control here. So at this point, things should line up okay. Let's take a look here. Yeah, that looks much better. Now, all we're really missing are labels for these. So let's kind of click away. Next to the work order, the count, we're going to say work order count. Let's add a little label. And we're going to type work order, work order count. And just kind of move this up a little bit. They do want it to be red. Oh, come on. There. They want that to be red. And they also want it to be bold-faced and right aligned. And then what I'm going to do, because we want something similar down here in the report footer, I'm just going to copy it, look down here and paste it. And then we'll move it. And I'm going to make these line up. I do this aligning a lot. I notice the book doesn't do it. It drives me nuts if things aren't lined up. So I do it all the time. Over here next to sum, we want month total, and then down here we want grand total. So we're going to add a little text box up here. And this should be month total. And this is also going to be red and bold-faced and right aligned. And I'm going to copy this. I'm just going to press Control and C. I'm going to click down here and press Control and V. And that will paste, and I'm just going to kind of move this over. And change the word month to grand. And let me move that down. It probably doesn't like it that I had it so close. And let's line these up. And then let me line these so that they are all on the same level. And we'll do the same with this. And let's save this. And now let's take a look at it. That actually looks pretty darn good.